Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Soul Good. I'm Amber Marie, and this is your May 2023 Tarotscope. In the description box below, you will find all sorts of goodies, including a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. But I would like to remind you that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so please only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. It is my absolute pleasure to be here with you today, and I want to thank you so much for joining me. I am very, very excited and feel so blessed to be sharing a spread that I've created for you, taking a look at what you have conquered, where you have or where you are gaining clarity, what you have the opportunity to change, and what you might be celebrating now or in the future. However, while I was shuffling and preparing to come into your reading, I saw some cards that gave me this impression that you may be either, okay, so it's very interesting. I feel like you may be juggling, and this could be maybe different facets of yourself. This could be priorities. This could be decisions. And what's interesting is I saw several twos, which leads me to believe that you have some choices that you may be looking at making. You may be in a space where maybe you're trying to bring some more balance into your experience. Perhaps fearing a little bit of change, maybe fearing taking some new steps in new directions, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, things like this. I did see some of that, and I felt that it was almost, how would we say, sticking out like a neon sign. Okay, and I also feel that you are likely going through a transformation currently, a metamorphosis, right? And I feel like this is literally from one way of being to another, right? Like I feel like there are things here that, how would I say, it feels like you're looking at your priorities, trying to figure out maybe what works and what doesn't, what you want to, let's say, keep, and what you would like to, let's say, get rid of. Again, but I do feel like there are some things that would indicate that maybe you are a little bit hesitant, perhaps, maybe fearing change a bit, because I feel like whatever this is, if you resonate with this, I feel like it is asking you to step way outside of your comfort zone, way outside what you have known, to adapt to something that perhaps you would have never anticipated, or maybe something you've never encountered. Like it feels very foreign, very far away. All right, so I wanted to share that with you before we got started, but let's jump in and see what the cards have to say for you, Sagittarius. Okay, so please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, what has Sagittarius conquered, please? Excuse me. That's a lot of cards, so let's get a nice clear message, please. What has Sagittarius conquered? No, that's still too many. Here's the thing. I feel like, okay, I'm just going to be honest here. And again, I would just like to remind you, take only what resonates. But I feel like for some of you, there's kind of this energy of, how would I say, it goes right along with that energy that I was picking up on around like juggling many different facets of yourself. Because I feel like there are some of you who are focused on several different things, and it almost feels as though it's one of those things where like the focus is spread too thin, and so you're unable to really accomplish much like um anything specific, if that makes sense, right? For example, and this is a very simplistic example, by the way, but something from my own experience, right? Or something that we can all maybe relate to is, let's say you're trying to do the dishes, you're trying to clean up your living room, you're trying to clean up your bedroom, and you're, maybe picking up one thing and then going into the next room and maybe doing a little something and then going into the next room and doing a little something. And you're doing all of these things, but you're not really getting much accomplished, right? That's what it feels like. And I want to lovingly say, I am not saying this to call anybody out or make anyone feel a certain type of way. We all do things the way that feels best for us, the way that, we feel will work or that we can manage. Um, but I just get this feeling that because there's so many cards that are flopping out in these big stacks, that it's like you're trying to conquer certain facets of yourself or to conquer bits of yourself, but are struggling, I feel, for some of you, because your focus is spread in so many places that it's difficult to really like maybe see something all the way through or to accomplish what you set out to, because your focus is not on one space or one facet of yourself, which again is, affirming what I was picking up on already with that juggling, right? So let's see here. What has Sagittarius conquered, please? Nice, clear message. Yeah. What has Sagittarius? Okay, there we are. Thank you. Yeah, see, it's so fascinating because it's like things like that will happen. And then once I mention it and once I bring it up and get it out, then I'm able to get a card. It's so weird. Where have or where are you gaining clarity, please? Okay. What do you have the opportunity to change, Sag? Okay, thank you. And what might Sagittarius be celebrating now or in the future, please? There it is. Thank you. Let's get some clarity. Tell us more, please, about what Sagittarius has conquered. How would we... Wow, okay, yeah. Where have or where is Sagittarius gaining clarity? Tell us more about that, please. Okay. Wow, yeah, this is interesting because we have a lot of four. It's so fascinating. I feel like there's something here about maybe some of you are trying to create stability in your experience. Fours are often related to stability, foundations. And so I feel like you're, trying to kind of balance things out to create some kind of stability. What does Sagittarius have the opportunity to change, please? Oh, that's a lot of cards. Let's try that again. What does Sagittarius have the opportunity to change, please? Nice, clear message for Sagittarius. Thank you. And what might Sagittarius be celebrating now or in the future? Tell us more about that, please. Okay, let me just grab this off the floor. Okay, and let's get some advice, guidance, or encouragement for Sagittarius, please. Okay, I feel like that one. However, I feel like there's probably more. So, advice, guidance, or encouragement for Sag. I feel like it's these two here. All right. But again, there was like a big pile that popped out. I feel, again, I just feel like some of you may be feeling stretched very thin. Let's take a look here. So what has Sagittarius conquered? We do have this beaver energy. And here's the thing about the beaver. It's so wild how I pick this stuff up. The beaver is a very hard working, often related to family type of energy. It reminds me of like the King of Pentacles in some cases, because the King of Pentacles is the one that's providing. It's the provider. It is an energy of abundance and generosity and prosperity, right? So I often feel reminded of that. It's a very supporting, steady, reliable type of energy. And I feel like it feels very interesting to me, because I feel like this may sound silly, but I feel like you've conquered hard work in the sense that you know you can work hard, right? Like, again, I know that may sound silly, but that's really what I'm picking up on here. I feel like you know that you can work hard. You're very capable of, creating abundance, or bringing in abundance, bringing in prosperity, maybe providing some financial support, or providing, how do we say, stability on a like a family aspect, or like caring for yourself or perhaps your children or something like that. I feel like you've conquered that. And that's not to say that you are extremely wealthy, though maybe that's also true, or something. But I feel like you maybe feel stable, able to bring in, say, finances when you need them, able to rely, let's say, on your physical health, or your physical capability. But I do want to read here from the book in regards to the beaver, just to give us a little more depth on what it is you may have conquered. So I do apologize. These are not in any alphabetical order. So give me just a moment here. Okay. Yeah, so it says here, hard worker, loyal, tireless, and family first. The beaver personality is a welcomed sight. These good-natured and dependable creatures have infinite love and enthusiasm for family, and express it by way of the earth element, providing a home and financial stability. Yeah, that's super interesting. Okay. Although a beaver doesn't usually initiate a project, once started, they'll work steadily for weeks, months, or years to see it through. The beaver card appears when the task at hand requires your long-term, steady effort. It can also signify that it's time for some karma yoga or selfless service. When in balance, happy and meaningful work. When out of balance, feels useless, worn out. To bring into balance, physical labor or selfless service, right? So yeah, I certainly was picking up on that energy of being able to provide, being reliable, right? Being able to provide stability and support. So again, I feel like this is something you've conquered, and maybe this is even something that you were told at one point or another you would not be able to do, or that you would not be able to accomplish. But I do feel like there's a certain level here, and it's interesting AF because I feel like for some of you there's a side perhaps where some of you um, were told that you wouldn't be able to provide that financial support or stability, to be a provider in that regard, or in that aspect. And then I feel like there are some of you who maybe were told at one point or another, or believed to be by some, incapable of loyalty. And so, yeah, or you may resonate with both of those things, but I feel like, there are some of you who have conquered either of those things, or maybe both. But yeah, the tarot does say here, right, there's death in the reverse. And the death in the reverse is a fear of change. Um, it is this stagnation, this fighting of, cycles and what needs to take place. That there's an, how would we say, the inability to accept that a cycle has changed or something has ended. Again, it's that like stagnation energy, or things decaying, right? And so it's interesting because I do feel like for some of you, you've conquered this by letting those old kind of stories, those old maybe belief systems that you've bought and sold, die, right? Understanding that they weren't helping you in any way, shape, or form. I find it really fascinating though, because this is a major arcana card, and what that says is that you are going through a metamorphosis, a big change. Um, there's a lot that's being uncovered here in regards to your own journey, your own unfolding. We also have the this is so fascinating because we're getting, or rather, I've been getting a lot of repeating cards for signs, so it's super interesting to me. You also have here the Nine of Cups in the reverse. This is, I mean, really, it's like dissatisfaction. It's the lack of true joy. It can be this kind of emotional instability, or yeah, it really does. It really feels like, just this dissatisfaction. And I feel like this is something that maybe you're conquering, or maybe you have conquered, because it feels like, I feel like there's something here about these stories that you were telling yourself, and for somehow, some way, whatever the circumstance is, you've been able to conquer that through your own essentially hard work. Maybe this is like physical labor, um, or some sort of dedication to something, right? I feel like you've been able to overcome this dissatisfaction with yourself to some degree, right? I feel like you've been able to conquer, again, these stories. That's what it feels like. I'm sorry if I didn't show you those. I apologize. Right? So, I feel that, yeah, I don't know. There's a certain level of, I would say, pride, if you will, or confidence, or joy that may have been found in your ability to provide in whatever way that is, whether that's being loyal, supporting your family, um, being loyal to your tribe or your circle, or being able to even just provide for yourself. I feel like there's a certain level of satisfaction there that you may have now come into, or at the very least, have experienced to some degree. Wow. We do have the Ten of Swords here. And so it's interesting AF, because the Ten of Swords is also this energy of, let's say, I mean, of like a final ending, letting things die, right? I mean, you like this animal here is dead. I mean, you can't come back from that, right? And so, I feel like there's this conquering of things that have ended, and perhaps even because the Ten of Swords can be seen as failure, as defeat, as even maybe being backstabbed or um, betrayed, right? I feel like some of you have been conquering this facet of yourselves as well. Maybe been able to find forgiveness, or whether that be for yourself or others. But I feel like the one of the biggest things that's coming through here is essentially this ending, right? Letting things just be what they are, accepting things for what they are. And I feel like that's a pretty big step, right? It's a pretty big step to let things go, to accept that things are what they are. And, now it's just about moving forward. It's about moving up. It's about completing that cycle, closing that cycle, right? Reaching that stage of coming full circle and moving forward, which, I mean, that's what the Death card is as well. Okay, it's the closing of a cycle, letting things cycle the way they will, letting things die, because that is what happens. As a human being on this planet, not only do we actually at some point physically die, but we also go through these endless cycles of death and rebirth. As we grow, as our perceptions or perspectives change, as we gain new levels of awareness, as we discover things about ourselves, as we discover things about the world around us, like that, it's this consistent cycle of us, being one way, and that essentially dying, and then being reborn in something else. So, I feel like something that you've conquered is perhaps letting these cycles kind of do what they're going to do, right? And then finding ways to move forward. And maybe, the way that you've been able to do that is by delving into your work, delving into your family. Beautiful. We have the Ace of Pentacles here. Yeah. I mean, so, here's the thing. The Ace of Pentacles is opportunities, it's prosperity. It is this it's also trust, right? And I feel like there's a development of trust within self. Almost like I can rely on myself to show up for myself. When I apply myself, opportunities present themselves, prosperity follows, right? When I put effort in, when I put work in, again, prosperity follows, opportunities show up, right? And it's, look at this. I mean, you really can't make this up, Sag, right? Because we go from the 10, which is completion, back to the 1, which is a new beginning. Right? So I feel like there's something here about conquering endings and the fear of beginnings, even if that's something as simple as being loyal to yourself or delving deep into your work. Okay, so where are you gaining clarity? Wow, we do have the cheetah. So there is an aspect of this where I feel like where you're getting clarity is, okay, so the cheetah is a representation of like the solar forces. It's a representation of masculine energy. And that masculine energy, whether you're male or female, does not matter. We have both within us. Um, that masculine energy is confidence. It is assertive. It is expressive. It is um, more about responsibility and focus and support and discipline and capability. Again, stability, if I didn't say that already, is also about clarity and courage, right? So it's interesting that we're asking where you've gained clarity, and we have an energy of like actual clarity coming in, or focus um, showing up in this position, because it almost feels like you may be gaining clarity on yourself, on perhaps where you may need to be assertive or implement, some sort of assertion or boundaries, perhaps where you may need to be more decisive, or maybe more logical, or maybe more responsible, or more confident, or maybe to choose, if you will, a direction, right? It's interesting because we have the death energy up here, which is it's a feminine energy. Okay, the yin is an energy of, or the feminine is an energy of death. The yang, or the masculine, is an energy of birth, or can represent birth. And so, it's like you're being reborn here, and we start with the tarot with the death and end with the ace, which is a new beginning. And then we start here with the masculine energy, or the solar forces, which is again about birth, right? It's also, again, yang energy is also about the sun. And the sun is often, so this goes through some different spaces, things like anthroposophy, even some Eastern traditions, where we have what's called the solar fathers, right? So we can look at the sun as the father, or the masculine energy as the father, right? So, I feel like you're gaining clarity in these areas, and again, potentially working on things like strength, like confidence, like assertion, like endurance, even, right? Because the cheetah is that's a very fast-paced energy, and you have to be able to keep up, as it were. But I do want to see here, I just want to read the keywords from this cheetah energy for you. Again, this is where you have or are gaining clarity. Yeah, so solar force, action, achievement, masculine energy, right? So again, I feel like this is especially in regards to, how would we say, gaining clarity on your purpose, right? Because the cheetah has this, what seemingly endless or boundless energy, and it's a representation of aligning with that passion, which is very fire element energy, and your purpose to keep going, to endure, right? That's what's going to keep you going. So I feel like you're gaining clarity on what things are important to you, right? We have here as well the Nine of Pentacles, which, or pardon me, the Eight of Pentacles, which, no, this is, yes, pardon me. This is definitely the Nine of Pentacles. I was like, why am I, no, I can definitely count. So what's interesting is, again, like I said, the Eight of Pentacles, and oftentimes when that happens, like there's a reason for that. One being maybe I can't count, but I feel like also, here's the thing, the Eight of Pentacles is an energy of diligence and knowledge and attention to details. And I feel like there's something here about gaining clarity on that, in the sense of the Eight of Pentacles in another deck that I have shows this woman who's putting work in, right? Who's very passionate about what she's doing, and she will spend, she has the cycles of the moon above her head, because it's showing that she's putting in this effort over spans of time, right? So I feel like there's something there about that as well, like an understanding that things don't just happen overnight, because that endurance energy has already come up. It's an energy of, these things, like accomplishment or mastery, takes time. It doesn't just pop in like this, right? Which is very difficult to accept when we live in a world that has an easy button for damn near everything, right? You can see the doctor from your home for many things. You can order groceries, you can order food, you can, right? Like you can get just about anything delivered to your door, right? And so I'm just saying, right, that it can be stressful when things don't show up when we want them to. But with the Nine of Pentacles, right, this is an energy, pardon me, of essentially rewards, right? The fruits of your labor, pardon me. This is spiritual and material satisfaction. So again, it's gaining clarity on, right, like where you're putting your efforts and what you're putting your efforts into, and how satisfying it can be to achieve the things you set out to do, to endure things that maybe others thought you would never be able to break free, right? It's interesting to me, because I'm seeing this here, like this boundary that's created around around these Nine Pentacles is like it's boxing in, but they're feathers, right? So I feel like there's clarity being gained on the boundaries that we create sometimes aren't boundaries at all, right? They're false or imagined, or maybe not as, let's say, durable as we thought. So there could be clarity on that as well. But another thing I want to add is there's this diamond shape here with this Nine of Pentacles, and the diamond is a representation of a spirit, like awakening. And so I do feel like you're gaining clarity on this as well, right? Or through these things, perhaps awakening to the truth of who you are, or perhaps even your purpose. Wow, it just blows my mind how many of these energies are repeating. So we do have the Eight of Swords here, and this is self-imprisonment, right? Again, like I was saying, it's wild how I was picking up on that already. Like how essentially the boundaries that we think are there aren't really there at all, right? Because the Eight of Swords is the energy of like self-victimization. Again, like self-imprisonment, retelling your same victim stories over and over, and buying them, like, and selling them and perpetuating them over and over and over, when really all you have to do is free yourself from them. So I feel like you're gaining clarity on this through your own hard work, through your own actions, through watching yourself, I feel, maybe overcome these things, right? Gaining clarity on that, right? Let's see what else. Wow, we have the Star here in the reverse. So this, I mean, this is an energy of faithlessness. This is having, no hope. This can also be like a discouragement, persistent negativity. And here's the thing, like, I feel like you're seeing what that gets you, if I'm being quite honest, right? I feel like you may be gaining clarity on how staying in that space is something that creates nothing but discouragement and nothing but insecurity, and prevents you from healing, prevents you from moving forward, prevents you from rebuilding yourself. So, I feel like you're gaining clarity on essentially the boundaries that you create for yourself when you choose to not take action, when you choose to not be assertive, when you choose to not be expressive, when you choose to, you know, not be confident or not create boundaries or to not take responsibility for yourself, for what you want, right? When you know, there are many things here that we could talk about in regards to this more masculine energy and what may come from essentially not stepping into that. Okay, but I do feel like you're gaining clarity on these things. And to be very honest, I feel like a big part of this is like, if you want to endure and if you want to find that satisfaction in life, right, you have to be willing to take action. You have to be willing to pursue things that mean something to you, right? We also have the Five of Wands here in the reverse, and this is an energy of essentially like avoiding conflict and respecting differences, which this is the gaining clarity on this is huge, I feel, especially from this masculine solar force cheetah energy, because the masculine isn't, or the natural or divine or sacred, however you want to label it, masculine is not going to assert themselves and create conflict simply out of like might is right, or simply out of trying to control a situation, or to be confrontational or competitive in a negative way, right? It's like, listen, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, you're gonna believe what you're gonna believe, that's fine. I don't have to engage in aggression and be confrontational and critical and kind of go into this might is right type of thing. We don't have to be in competition. I'm in competition with no one, right? I can respect that maybe your views are different than mine. Maybe what you find inspiring is not the same things that I do, right? Or what you feel you need to take action on is not what I feel I need to take action on, right? So I mean, this is growth. It's tremendous growth, and gaining clarity in these areas can surely help you to evolve and surely help you to experience life from a very different perspective, especially when you're seeing where you've been telling yourself the same stories and imprisoning yourself, right? Imprisoning your mind, acting out of fear, letting fear limit you, self-sabotaging, not healing, going from that to a place where you can respect differences and can, step into that more masculine, assertive energy. And I just feel like it's so powerful. So what do you have the opportunity to change? Wow, you have the eagle here. This is pretty big. First off, this is pretty big because this is a different perspective. Okay. These birds of prey are often symbols of high perspective. Okay. I also feel like there's something here about freedom. This may be because I'm American, but I feel like you have this opportunity to set yourself free, which when we look at, again, the Eight of Swords over here, that is that self-imprisonment. So I do feel like through this clarity that you're gaining, you have this opportunity to set yourself free, to soar higher than maybe you ever have, right? To experience life from a completely different perspective. Let me just take a look because it's been a really long time since I've seen the eagle. Okay, yeah. This is beautiful. So wait till you hear this. And I'm so glad I decided to open the book here because, again, we're looking at what you have the opportunity to change. And it says here the eagle is a representation of all pervading power, a truth seeker, and it transforms karma. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, eagle child. When in balance, bright, radiant, and challenges. When out of balance, controlling, to bring into balance, step into the unknown. So again, what you have the opportunity to change here is to step into the truth of who you really are, right? And I love that we have this fire energy showing up for you, Sag. I mean, let's be real here, right? And it does say here, right? The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. So, I feel like you have the opportunity here to really step into a different way of being with the understanding, should you choose to understand it from this perspective, of things happen for us, not to us. Okay. And I feel like if you understand things from that perspective, that transformation is going to feel maybe a little less fiery, we'll say. What else do you have here? You also have the buffalo. This is absolutely incredible because the buffalo energy is this one that has an understanding of the fact that they are on the planet, in the physical plane on earth, but are also a very spiritual being, right? With an eternal soul. So that fear of challenge, that fear of karma, the fear of death, it's not there. It's gone with the buffalo, right? Because it has this understanding that there is nothing to fear, that change, that death and rebirth happen constantly, right? And they are all for us to grow, to evolve, right? That when this life on this planet ends, it's not the end. It is just an end, right? An end to one way of being and the beginning of another, right? So I feel like, should you choose, of course, because we're looking at what you have the opportunity to change, you could potentially leave behind that fear, the fear of challenge, the fear of death, the fear of obstacles, the fear of anything that may come your way, right? You leave that behind and step into truth, right? Understanding like you are more strong than you imagine, right? This is mastery. And it's interesting because, again, the bird or the eagle here, pardon me, is that representation of mastery over fire and air. And then the buffalo here is that mastery over the spiritual world and the earthly realm, or having this understanding that you are a part of both. So you don't have to, you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to fear the earthly realm or the earthly space. It's so fascinating to me. To clarify, we do have the daughter or the page of wands in the reverse. And when we look at this energy, this is really, I'm just going to be honest here, this is an energy of conflict, of procrastination, of lack of direction, I mean, this can also be essentially lacking that courage, that confidence, that creativity, your enthusiasm for life. And I feel like this is what you have the opportunity to change, to truly live, to truly feel alive, to again stepping into the truth of who you truly are, to find courage and be confident about life and who you are and what your place in it is. Again, the cheetah is also very focused on passion, of purpose, right? Or finding um, passion for our purpose, right? Oftentimes, once we discover, a larger purpose, being of service to others, that that is something that can create tremendous fire. I mean, for good Lord, I'm sitting here doing this reading at, like, I think it's probably it's likely sometime after midnight right now, right? And I could have went to bed, surely. I could have laid down. I could have watched, whatever, and or mindlessly scrolled on my phone or something. But I love doing this, and I felt like I'm like, I have energy. If I'm going to be up, I might as well do something I love, right? So, I mean, take it how it resonates with you, but this is what I feel like you have the opportunity to change, right? Is to really step into um well, okay, let me back up a little bit. When we look at the page or the daughter of wands in the upright, it is an energy of exploration, excitement, and freedom, right? So you have the opportunity to free yourself again from fear. I'm getting fear coming up, right? You have an opportunity to free yourself from these things: fear of death, fear of not being enough, fear of failure, fear of defeat, fear of being betrayed, fear of things not working out, right? You have fear of obstacles, challenges. You have the opportunity to leave all of that behind. What might you be celebrating now or in the future? Okay, so you do have the dolphin energy here. This is an energy of a healer, a teacher, the light. It can also be literally blessings showing up in your experience. So I feel like I'm just going to be quite honest. I feel like I'm getting a couple of things here. One being, you may have found yourself to perhaps find purpose in being some sort of healer, and that can show up in so many different ways. It's unreal. You would know for yourself, right? Because again, it can be so many different things. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a profession either. It can just be something that, maybe you're good at listening to people. And through your willingness to listen and offering that ear, people heal, right? Maybe it is you shining your light on others, sharing what you've learned, right, along your journey, and that helping others to heal. But I do feel like there could be some of you who are actually celebrating blessings coming in. And it could potentially be because of the work that's being done, the work that's been done, the focus. Also, because, I mean, there's literally hard work here, right? There's actually like putting in work, and that likely having kind of, how would we say, like a return on investment, as it were. Let's see, we have the Daughter of Cups here as well. So another page showing up. This tells me again, right, that you're in the beginning stages of something, right? You're new to something, because pages are novices. They're beginners. They're immature. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, you're a child. I mean it in the sense of there's a new beginning. There's a new understanding. There's a new space that you're in, right? You're somewhere maybe you've never been before, or learning something you didn't know previously. But with the Page of Cups in the reverse, this can be that energy of emotional immaturity, insecurity, disappointment. And it's interesting because it's almost as if, again, there's that healing. I feel like you could be celebrating healing these things, right? And part of the blessing could be overcoming this insecurity, overcoming disappointment, overcoming that emotional immaturity, shining light on these things, releasing that weight, healing yourself. I also feel like, so the dolphin is very spiritual, okay, very connected. And so, with the Daughter of Cups or Page of Cups here, that is an energy that is intuitive, emotional, intimate. So you could, be overcoming those things, healing those things, moving more into a space where perhaps, those things aren't so, right? Maybe you don't run from those things. Wow, yeah, we do have the Eight of Cups here as well. And the Eight of Cups is about leaving things behind. It's about walking away, disillusionment, right? Eights are about change, or can be about change as well. And, so it's interesting because I feel like you're celebrating, I feel, finding deeper meaning in life, finding out what really matters to you, what is or does feel like a blessing, moving on from things that maybe, again, have been disappointing, have caused you to feel, how would we say, weary, right? So I feel like you could be celebrating moving on from those things, right? Like letting those cups just be where they are. And I mean, the thing of it is you do have this cups energy here showing up in your celebration or your space of what you might be celebrating now or in the future. And I feel like there's this connection with your emotions. And I feel like it could really bring things full circle and really shed light on, again, what truly is a blessing to you, or what you classify as a blessing. Maybe you've been hyper focused on work, hyper focused on, the more ambitious type of space, that hardworking provider energy. And maybe now, you're more moving into this space where you're experiencing the truth of what you feel, the truth of what needs to heal within you, what's actually going to bring you satisfaction, not just financially and physically, but emotionally. What's going to spark passion within you, inspire you, right? Wow, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I was already picking up on, like, look at what's going to spark passion within you, right? You do have here showing up as well the Six of Wands in the reverse. And the Six of Wands in the reverse is that energy of, I mean, it's lack of recognition. It's a feeling of punishment, right? So again, I feel like there's healing here for you, Sag. I feel like there is, potentially finding forgiveness for yourself, healing yourself, and shedding light on things again that mean things to you, right? Maybe you're shown where you had a little bit of excess pride, where maybe you felt like you weren't being recognized or something. But I feel like, there's the celebration here of, again, I really feel healing and understanding what you see as a blessing and what's going to bring you that emotional fulfillment, but also that solar fulfillment, or the sun type of fulfillment, which is, that vitality, that passion, happiness, joy, pleasure, purpose, right? I mean, even if we just look at wands in general, like, it's something that's going to inspire you. So, advice, guidance, or encouragement for you moving forward. We do have Treasure Island here. So, here's another 9 showing up for you. Um, And what I find interesting about Treasure Island showing up is, again, look at this turtle here. The treasure chest is on his back, right? So it's that it's that I already know what means something to me, right? I already have, like, I already know what's going to bring me fulfillment. And there, look at, there are stars. I don't know if it's going to focus and you can see them, but there are stars there, right? So it's like I already know what is going to bring me fulfillment, right? The answers are already here. I don't have to go seeking them or searching for them, right? I already know what treasure is to me. It's just a matter of opening that chest up and letting yourself, like letting yourself see those things, letting yourself explore those things, freeing those things from wherever they've been held within you. You also have here, yeah, truth be told. Again, look at this. I mean, this owl here has, this cage where he's standing on this mask, and now he has his chest space or heart space wide open. So this is about taking the mask off, Sag. This is about being very honest with yourself. What does your heart want? What creates passion within you, right? You are wise enough, with the owl here, to know, right? Open your heart up. Take off the mask, rise above the mask, and open your heart to what it is you truly want, what you desire, what's going to bring you happiness, joy, love, a full heart, again, fulfillment, right? What's going to create the change that you want to experience. It's time to be very honest with yourself, right? And your emotions. We also have here building blocks. Isn't that interesting? Because I was just at the beginning of the reading here, right, talking about the fours and stability and foundations. And we talked about the beaver, bringing that in. So I do feel here, which 28 reduces to 10, which is about completion, okay, and moving forward and things coming full circle. And then if we reduce it even further, it goes back to 1. So we're looking at, right, the completion of a cycle, built, like, how do we say, laying foundation as we complete cycles, as we move forward towards a new beginning, laying that foundation, right, for what it is we really want to experience, building up the life we want, the experience we want, from a space of truth, from a space of understanding ourselves, right, from co-creating our reality with the universe, from a space of truth, from a space of how we feel, right? And what I mean by that is the truth of what we feel. It's not always about the logic. And, that masculine energy is very logical, very analytical, very sciencey, right? But that's not it. That's not the whole story. And that has been proven here, because we do have a lot of masculine energy, but there's also a lot of feminine energy coming through, right? The death card is feminine, represents, right? It represents the yin. We have these cups energies here, which are very feminine and emotional, and about love and relationships, our intuition and spirituality, right? So these are things to consider. It's also about emotions. Like, we don't want to just be building on logic alone, right? We don't want to be just building on those more masculine or solar forces. We also rather want to be building on what we feel, right? What our intuition tells us. We also want to allow ourselves to experience things. Again, feeling, right? It's very internal. So, I feel like this is about you building and creating what it is you want to experience from an understanding of what it is you feel, what it is you want, what it is you know. That introspection that's taken place with what you've learned about yourself and what you've healed, right? And then moving from a place of confidence. It's interesting because it almost feels as like, and it's fascinating AF that there is actually a female figure on this card, because it comes from, or we move from this very masculine type of energy with being the provider and getting the energy of like the King of Pentacles, let's say, and the Cheetah with the solar forces and the masculine energy. I mean, and we kind of move through your reading and come to this space where there's emotions involved, right? So it's almost like moving through the masculine energy and developing that, and now taking what you've learned there and applying it to developing the more feminine aspect of yourself. Again, it does not matter, male or female. We have both within us. Okay? So it's about balancing those. Sag, that is what I have for you. I pray that something here has resonated for you, inspires you to, find confidence in and courage in healing and freeing yourself and soaring higher than you ever have, right? Seeking that truth, being unafraid of karma and change and obstacles, and allowing yourself to feel what you need to feel in order to move forward, in order to connect more deeply with yourself, with truth, and with your passion and things that inspire you to create a very beautiful, very fulfilling life. If something here has resonated for you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow and tells YouTube that there may be something valuable or important for someone else to see. So I truly do appreciate that. Have a beautiful rest of your month. Take care of your powerful, courageous, strong, loving soul. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.